You are watching the Vodka stream.
Meow. What's happening, guys? Everything on? We're good? What's going on, everybody? So the pregame. Let's do some pregaming. Tap. Let's do some pregaming. How's it going, everybody? Got my doing a little vino right now, of course. It's what I always usually pregame with. Probably not the best to pregame with wine and then go into hard liquor later. But, in between, I'll, get some food, drink some water. We'll be good. We'll be good. So cheers, guys. It is Friday. Thank God, right? Oh, man. Thank you for joining. Like I said, if you guys didn't know, this is a pre-recorded interview with Mr. Richard Cetrone. We did it yesterday, actually. So it was actually kind of a funny story. We were supposed to do it Wednesday, and then I guess he got held up. And then, so we ended up having to do it yesterday, which was cool because, I wasn't sure. I was like, sometimes, these people, you reach out. And sometimes things, might not work out because they're busy schedules, but we got it done, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and stuff like that. It's an hour long. I could have talked to this guy for hours and hours. Have you seen his body of work? I mean, my God, have you seen his body? Jesus Christ, this guy's like pushing 60, or is he 60? Guy's ripped. No, but we do talk about a little bit of that, though, too. Of course, getting in shape and everything, because I like getting the regimen. What's going on, Paul? Yeah, forgot to. Let's see who's out there. Eh? Who's gone? Yes. Oh, I think we might talk about that scene a little bit there. Maybe talk a little Batfleck. What's going on, Mr. Jose? How you doing, sir? What's the standings like? What's the standings? You know what? I'm just saying. Didn't the Cubs just came into town? Didn't they sweep the Dodgers when they played the Dodgers last, and the Padres? But the Giants beat them last night. Just saying. What's going on, Jason? Mr. Fear Jason. Mr. McKenzie, what's up, sir? Good vibes, man. Yeah, good vibes. What's going on, Mr. Javier? We got Ryan here too, bud. What's going on? Did you ask him about zombie sex? I don't think I quite got the zombie sex, sadly. I mean, like I said, there was so much I wanted to ask, but, I was like, I only did it like an hour. So we got Carrie here. What's up? Listening while out for a walk. Good for you, man. Get outside. Get some vitamin D. Get out there. Move the legs and stuff. Is that shirt from Horror Nights? No, it's not, actually. Just found it on Amazon. But the last time I went to Horror Nights, they had the Ghostbusters maze up, and that was probably that was my favorite maze, naturally, because I'm a Ghostbusters fan, man. Because you can even go to my personal Instagram and go all the way back, man. I was taking videos and stuff of that maze and pictures. They had a Killer Clowns from Outer Space one too. Well, I mean, if that's what you want to call me, that's fine. It's fine. What's going on, Mr. Bailey? How you doing? Wow, Bruce, I know he's totally simping. Let's see what you said. They're just 2 games back. But how about them Lakers? Ooh, well, that's already out. Apparently, that's no good. I mean, is the Clippers still in it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the protocol is when it comes to if the Lakers don't fully make it. Do you just immediately stick with LA and root for the Clippers? I don't know what that protocol is, but yeah, I heard they just did not really show up last night, did they? And then LeBron get hurt or something. So that's what sucks. I canceled my cable, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have cable anymore. But I do like watching basketball playoffs. Not really like a season guy. I mean, unless it's on, sure. But man, basketball playoffs are so freaking exciting. So I'm kind of missing out on that. For sure. This is going to be a bomb. Yeah. Richard's he's a good guy. I'm just waiting for people to show up, chatting with you guys for about 10 minutes or so. You guys know what I like to do. And then I'll pull it up. Oh, man. Of course, I didn't have it ready to go because I don't prepare. No, we'll be all right. I just got to link it up there. Yeah, we'll be good. Since Gareth Evans probably moved on, who would you pick to helm the Deathstroke series? That's a good question. Somebody who, I don't know. I would just, anybody who has like a knack for like some good freaking awesome action, I guess you could say. I don't know. I don't know who would be good. I mean, if they're going to do a series, they'll probably just divide it up. But yeah, I think what Joe would actually want is somebody who can really handle, like, do some really good fucking legit action and not just be all shaky cam and cuts and shit like that. Like full on good ass. Yeah, there you go. Hey, David Leitch. There you go. It's a good one. Yeah. That'd be probably a perfect choice right there. What is he doing right now? David Leitch. Didn't he just, is he doing John? He's not doing John Wick 4. I don't know. I know they keep announcing people that are going to be in John Wick 4. But I don't know. What's he doing? Or the director of Extraction. Gavin O'Connor. I know. Gavin. Yeah, there's Gavin O'Connor. And Gareth Evans. I mean, I always get those two guys mixed up because their names are kind of doing that. Wait, the director of Extraction, Bullet Train. Oh, that's right. He's doing Bullet Train, the Brad Pitt movie, right? Okay. Yeah, that gets brought up because apparently certain person that's going to be interviewed right here kind of did some work on that. Chad, Stahelski, that's who I was thinking of, yeah. Dave, no video about being on a plane reading? No, I didn't do a video on that. Yeah, when it comes to the Cavill thing, yeah, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine as what that script actually was that he was reading right there. I don't know. He's headed this way. Well, not this way, California, but he's headed to the States. So he was flying over to the States. I mean, fingers crossed, because there are 2 movies that he could show up in that are currently filming right now. So fingers crossed that he shows up in one, maybe both. I don't know. But Bullet Train was fun. Stephen DeKnight. Yeah. Stephen DeKnight. I mean, I love the fact that he was, when the whole Jupiter's Legacy thing happened. I mean, apparently he bumped heads with Mark Millar, which, that other series that they greenlit, it's probably going to fucking fail too, unless I don't know, there's something more unique about it. But good old Mark Millar. He's all right. He's on his way to my house. Oh, there you go. Well, I'll head over to your house then. Yeah. One of those books near Henry was Warhammer related. Yeah. I know. I was looking at there was like books that were on like his table right there. And I wonder if that was like he was trying to give some indication or something like that. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Scully? Yeah, I know, because you're over there. You're in Ireland, right? I think. Yeah. I'm catching it live today. And then, of course, we'll do the regular, just a panel show later, which, of course, I already put out the link. We'll just invite some people in, see what happens, start chatting, because we didn't have a panel last week, which made sense because it was an extended weekend. Everybody was like, a lot of people were just like doing things, but, I think we got lots to talk about when it comes to the later show. Ray Fisher turned down a Mark Miller series called Prodigy. Good on him. Yeah, apparently he's kind of a douche, has good ideas but can't always. Apparently he's got good ideas, but it's not really I don't know, we saw how he was shitting on Batman vs Superman a while back. That was kind of douchey of him. I know Ray Fisher does need more work. Well, they brought that up earlier today in the League of Mayhem. If you guys caught that stream with Zach, that was a good stream. It was about 2 hours. And I think they talked about Ray Fisher and how, like get him into something. And Zach's like, yeah, he would love to work with him again. So I mean, Ray Fisher turned down playing Cyborg 2. How dare you, sir? David O. Russell. Yeah. You kind of wonder why people still work with David O. Russell when you hear the stories. Because he's apparently a big douche too. Lets his emotions out. You hear the stories here. I think recently I read about George Clooney's time with him. I forgot what movie it was that they worked on, but George Clooney said that it was probably one of the worst experiences that he ever had. So George Clooney says that about you. That's no good. That's no good. But yeah, all these A-list people are working with him again with this other movie that, you know, Christian Bale seems to like to work with him. But then when he kind of compare Christian Bale, his little, you know, Terminator Salvation, when he, you know, lost his mind, he kind of go, maybe they just get each other, you know? Because, you know, even though, yeah, you hear bad experiences, there are going to be people that still get along with certain people. It's weird. It's very interesting. Those Three Kings. There you go. Three Kings, which is a great movie too, by the way. Great movie. Yeah. It is weird. So I don't know. I think Steven S. DeKnight would kill. Yeah, he probably would do it because, yeah, like I said, he worked on Daredevil as well. So maybe they should do that. So why are these actresses working with him then? He made Amy Adams cry, and then Eric cried, and then he got mad. And then yeah, Eric cried. You're funny. Talk about Eric Blake. Yeah. Apparently Will Smith expressed interest in working with O. Russell, and now I want to see that. Yeah. I mean, he does make some good movies, but apparently, yeah, he's just kind of a douche. So, yeah. All right, guys, let's get to the interview. Like I said, pre-recorded. So, I mean, I'll be here, but not here. So, you know, any super chats or whatnot, I mean, if I catch them, I'll throw them up. And but no questions, of course. And I always worry that people are going to come in, ask them this. It's like, can't do that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Richard Cetrone, everybody. Let's see. Let me pull up the video file. Make sure I get the right one here. Desktop. All right. Of course, come on. Is it? No, that was yesterday's. Sorry. Computer's taking too long to find it. Come on, computer. Still shopping for that new computer, man. Come on. That's not it either. Come on, find it. Damn it. Cetrone, come on. Stupid computer, man, I tell you. It's right there, right? Where are you? Come on. You can do it. I don't know. See, my computer can't even find the file right now, of course. I should have. There it is. There you go. Yeah, I'm still shopping for the computer, but here we go, guys. All right. So I'll see you guys in about an hour. So here's Richard Cetrone. Hey, everybody, I'm here with King of the Zombies, the Alpha himself, Richard Cetrone. How's it going, sir?
Good. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. Been pretty exciting couple of weeks. Well, pretty exciting year, I would say.
Yeah, it's been a big year for Zach. So it's good to see. I'm happy.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, especially with Army of the Dead that's happening right now. #1 movie worldwide on Netflix. That's got to be pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah. I took a look at the IMDb ratings, and it's surreal. It's pretty insane.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And then, I mean, even the other day, Zach posted that pretty much it's looking to be one of the most popular movies on Netflix. It's going to be, I guess they're projecting about 73 million households or whatnot. I mean, that's got to be, I mean, the fact that you are, essentially you're, I wouldn't say you're not exactly the villain. I mean, we'll get into the whole Zeus and everything and his character, but I mean, it's got to be kind of cool to just, you got your own poster, all that stuff when it comes to Army of the Dead.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I like the direction you're going because I don't think I'm the villain either.
Yeah. See, we're going to get into it. About Zeus because there's so many theories out there, and that's what's so great about the movie. And Zach even came on the Vodka stream a couple of Fridays ago, and it's always funny to try to press him a little bit for theories and whatnot. And he can't exactly say everything, but he'll be coy about things. But we'll get into that. I mean, obviously, you know how Zach could be, and it's great. But I wanted to talk about. Let's get to know Richard here a little bit because, man, looking at your IMDb, holy Lord, you've had quite the body of work when it comes to stunt performing. I mean, not only has it been in with Marvel and DC movies, but just a bunch of, it's all the way down to Three Ninjas, Knuckle Up.
Yeah, that's my first union job.
There you go.
That's quite a while ago.
Yeah. I remember when those movies came out, man. I was a big time fan of those movies. But yeah, just looking at all the stunt work you've done. I mean, stunt work for, of course, Ben Affleck. I mean, you're part of Star Trek, Battleship, Cabin in the Woods, Fight Club, even. I mean, Iron Man. I mean, it's all right there. So I always ask people, like, when they're, actors, like, when did they get bit by the acting bug? But when did you get, I guess, bit by the stunt performing bug?
Well, I don't know. I guess it has its roots in childhood. I was always a real physical kid. I was drawn to the physical sports. I played football since I was 9, and I liked hockey, and I boxed in the amateurs. So I liked the physicality of it. And I moved to California to study martial arts, but I always had in the back of my head that I wanted to try to get into stunt work. So it kind of was a natural merger from martial arts. If you're interested in getting into the film industry, that's a skill that they value. If you're a high enough level of competence, and the stunt work, because martial arts and stunts aren't exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You can train for self-defense and you can train for stunts, and they're a little bit different. So just making that adjustment in the stunts, it wasn't really that difficult. I think I've always had it in me.
How long have you been studying martial arts?
Oh, since I trained on my own back in Pittsburgh, but with my instructor since 1987.
1987, nice. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, like, where are you from? I mean, I kind of had an indication with the Steelers hoodie you had on there. I was like, probably Pennsylvania area. So, did you grow up in Pittsburgh?
I did. Yeah, that's my hometown, and it's like it's a great football town, like Green Bay, Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
The New York teams, Boston. Those are all great sports towns, and the fans there, along with Pittsburgh, it's like a religion.
Oh,
I mean, if you're born and raised there, if you're not a Steeler fan, you're an outcast.
That's true. That is very true. And I also noticed you have some instruments behind you. I take it it looks like you play a little drum, some guitar.
Oh yeah, that's just a little bit of stuff I fool around with.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I couldn't help it. I saw it looks like an electric drum set right behind you, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just play around with that stuff. It's nothing serious.
I'm like, when's the album come out, man? When's the album?
Yeah. Now you wouldn't want to hear that album.
Actually, now, but so when it comes to, like, okay, so you getting into stunt performing, was there like anybody that that you were looking up to when you were getting into the martial arts portion of all this? Was there anybody that kind of inspired you?
Yeah, actually, there was a guy that kind of led the way for students from my martial arts academy that I studied at. His name's Jeff Amata.
Okay.
And Jeff Amata is a stunt legend, and he was the first from our school. And now there's got to be easily 50 guys in films that are from my instructor's school. Dan Inosanto is his name. And I looked up to Jeff a lot. I remember sitting in the theater and watching Big Trouble in Little China back home.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember the scene at the airport where Jeff, he has a balisong knife in one hand and a telescopic baton in the other, and he flips open the balisong, he pops up the baton, he starts doing this movement with it, and I saw that, and it's what it is. It's a Heaven 6 movement. But at the time, it blew me away. I never seen anything like that. Yeah. So then when it came out in VHS, I got it, and I just played that over and over. I'm like, I have to learn this. This is amazing. What's really cool too is I end up meeting Jeff and becoming friends with him, and then working for him on a number of different shows. And he was real instrumental in helping me out in the early years. That's
awesome. I mean, especially when you see somebody on screen, you get inspired by them, and then you actually can work with them and learn from them. I mean, that's really awesome right there. Like, was there any other inspirations, like maybe like your Jackie Chans of the world or anything like that when it came to this kind of work?
With stunts, I was a Jackie Chan fan, but not huge. Of course, Bruce Lee. Yeah. Loved his movies. He was a big influence on me. His martial arts was actually a bigger influence than his movies. But yeah, no, I can't think of anyone else. I would say Jeff would probably be the main guy who was my influence when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just being a kid too. I mean, like you said, when the physicality of like a lot of this stuff. I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, I loved jumping out of trees, jumping off roofs, doing all crazy stuff like that. I mean, and then it gets to a point where you go, wait a minute, I just like hurt myself. I don't know about this now, but when you're that kid and you just kind of you see it on screen and you kind of go, man, if I could do something like that. There's just always something that at least for me, like especially growing up on Jackie Chan movies or just just action movies in general and seeing some of these elaborate stunts. I mean, it definitely. I mean, it was funny too because I remember you were at the Snyder Con event back in 2019 with Zach and all that, and I remember when I came and I had the poster signed by you guys. I even said that stunt performing needs to get recognized way more when it comes to award season. Like I honestly think there should be an Oscar category for stunt work, to be honest, because what you guys do, putting your body like, out there and just, man, I tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If you look at it, we're basically the only major movie influence about the movie making process that isn't recognized.
Yeah.
Oscar, which it does need to be changed, and I think it eventually will be. But you look at Fury Road, right? That movie was nominated for an Oscar, but you take the stunts out of that movie, you don't really have much of a movie.
Nope.
So yeah, it's definitely time. I understand the studio's point of view, and I kind of thought it went away, but I don't know if it has. But I think they still kind of like it when they want the fans to believe that these actors are doing everything.
Yeah, I know.
But there's still some fans that do believe that, by the way. But I think for the most part, people are pretty educated. People, they know what's going on. They know they're stunt performers, and they realize that, hey, if the actor gets hurt, this is going to cost the studio possibly millions of dollars. So you really can't take that chance. So I think most people realize that there are stunt performers behind the scenes. So yeah, I'd really like to see that change soon, because there's some very worthy people out there.
It definitely does, Mitch. I mean, like you said, people are smarter nowadays. I mean, now that we can literally just take every little frame nowadays and just freeze frame it. I mean, we could tell like, hey, that's that's Matthew McConaughey, or that's not Matthew McConaughey. It's somebody with a Matthew McConaughey wig right there that's driving that car or something like that. You can always spot that. But how do you feel about like actors who do their own stunts, like your Tom Cruises and what? Is that always you guys find that, hey, that's cool? Or are you kind of going like, hey, man, you got to be careful because, like you said, there's a lot of money on these films. You hurt yourself like you did in Mission Impossible Fallout, where it's top production. Like how is the thoughts of that in like the stunt community?
Well, I think it depends on what your position is in the stunt community. I think if you're the stunt coordinator whose major responsibility is to keep everyone safe on set, everyone, actors, people, crew, stunt performers, his job is to keep everyone safe. So if you ask him, he might say, I don't know, this isn't so good, man. I don't know if you should be doing this. Other stunt performers, I'm sure, we respect Tom, and he's a rare case.
Yeah.
Because not only is he willing to do it, but he can do it because he produces his stuff. So he's one of his own bosses, right? So he can do it. And the stuff that really impresses me that he does, because the things that you do that you're going to get busted up. I don't think he's not necessarily going to do those things.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes, but the stuff where you say it's a big hit, like you're going to get a little hurt. You're going to, he most likely isn't going to do that. But the things that really impress me are the heights that he does, being tied to the side of that airplane, being up in that super high tower in Dubai. Like that is insane. I know there are a lot, probably most stunt performers wouldn't be thrilled about doing something like that, and the heights don't bother him at all. Like
I mean, he did like a halo jump and in the last Mission Impossible. And I mean, it's just like, and you can't just do that. I mean, he had to get, I don't know how many jumps in before he did it. And I remember, I think there was a story. I think maybe it was Cavill who talked about it, or maybe it was him, that Cavill wanted to do it, but it's like, hey man, I got like 80 jumps in, or whatever the hell, how many jumps that he had in. So it wasn't like Cavill wanted to keep up, but he couldn't do that part because I mean, obviously you have to have the time in. And I mean, that's where, yeah, like you said, Tom Cruise is like a whole different beast. He is.
He definitely is, because most of the time when you know, if you hear these guys go, yeah, I did that, you know, a lot of times they didn't. You know, and it's okay. We kind of understand that that's going to happen. You know, we understand. But with him, you know, yeah, he does a lot of that stuff.
Nah. I know. I can't even imagine. Like, I know with the next Mission Impossible, he's doing some crazy ramp jump or into like a canyon over, I don't know, flying over a mountain and then parachuting off the thing. I know there's something crazy that he's doing this time, but I'm just kind of going like, I mean, when is he finally going to be like, all right, maybe I should just hold back? But I don't think he's going to. I think he's just like, I'm going to do it till I can't run anymore. Because let's face it, Tom Cruise, he knows how to run.
Yeah. And, you know, I've never worked with him, but I hear he's a pretty intense guy. And, you know, he works really hard, like nonstop worker, like the hardest worker on the show. So, and you know, he produces his stuff. So if he wants to do it, he's going to do it. He's going to
do it. I mean, yeah, you hear about that guy's work ethic and everybody always raves about that. Like, you know, he's just, like you said, it's his. I mean, he's the producer, so he wants to keep it. And then, you know, I mean, and then going over to somebody else who works hard is Zack Snyder, which the first time you worked with him was on his first movie, right? Dawn of the Dead?
I did. Yeah, I did some stuff in LA. Most of the movie was already shot in Toronto, but he came back and did a few things in LA, and I was part of that group.
Yeah. And how was your first meet with him?
Well, I had known Zack for a few years before that film. I had met him through Damon Caro, who is his stunt coordinator and second unit director. And Damon met him through Kurt Johnstad, who was one of the guys who wrote 300. And he met him in a way that he was, Zack was interested in training some martial arts. So Damon became his martial arts instructor. And through that relationship, they developed a rapport. And Zack hired him to do some choreography for Dawn, and then for 300, he hired him to be his stunt coordinator. Nice. So I had already known Zack before that through Damon.
Nice. And then it went obviously to 300, and that just kind of, you know, kicked things up into gear because, I mean, obviously, yeah, you, like you said, even looking at the IMDb, it says like stunts and reshoots. I don't know if like how, with, you know, reshoots, additional photography, I know they kind of go hand in hand sometimes, but when it came to working on 300, I mean when you hear Zack talk about like 300 and how he had this idea and he was trying to pitch it, and then I guess the studio was like, okay, so where in Greece are you going to shoot it? He goes, no, this is all going to be on, you know, green. It's going to be like green screen and stuff like that. But I mean, but still, a lot of the stunt work on there and a lot of choreography. I mean, you're dealing with a bunch of dudes, not to mention getting them in a crazy shape. I mean, that had to be, I mean, were you there for like most of the process of all that?
I was there for all the process. Yeah. That was quite a job. I mean, if you're a stunt performer, that's almost like a dream job for you.
Yeah.
You know, because we're basically being paid to get into the best shapes of our lives. You know, it's like, you know, how do you beat that? You know, and we did. The actors worked really hard. The stunt performers worked really hard. And we trained those actors so well with their fights that I don't believe, I'm trying to remember for sure, but the kid that I was doubling Astanos. I didn't do any of his fights. I did my own stuff because I was also a character. I was also one of the Spartans. But I don't think I did any of his fights. I don't think anybody really doubled anyone for all their fights. I'm pretty sure the actors did all their own fights, if I remember right. So they worked really hard, and that was just a really cool job. I mean, it was really enjoyable. And you know, that film was almost not made because Zack took a hard stance with the studios that this.
Zack?
R. Well, he said this needs to be R. I can't do this. I can't do a PG-13 version of this movie. It's got to be R. And then, you know, the studios, you know, they're looking at their numbers that our movies don't make as much as PG-13, and they're weighing everything out. And they're like, nah. And then finally, thankfully, the studios gave in, and Zack got his R rating, and we made the movie.
And it ended up being a hit. That's what's so funny. It always boggles my mind when, like, you know, when these people who are making the decisions are, you know, these, and they think like they're always looking at the numbers, crunching the numbers, but it's like, if you're, like you said, when you have a movie like this, when you're looking at the source material, which is just every panel almost has a blood splatter or something, there's a fight scene. It's like, how are you supposed to just get rid of all that when you're going to take away the essence? I mean, what Zack obviously loves to do is like, he sees what's on the page and he's like, all right, I know how to wrap flesh around that and, you know, put it on the screen. And yeah, if we're going to make a PG-13, it's just going to lose like all that luster. So yeah, we're definitely happy that he took the stance on that. And I mean, we know that, you know, when it comes to Zack and studios, man, I tell you what. yeah, those guys. But so then, you worked on Watchmen with Zack. You were you doubled for Matthew Good. So
yeah, I did the opening fight scene.
Okay.
In that movie, and then did a fight with Night Owl and stunts for him, and did some fight choreography.
How was that experience working on Watchmen? I mean, because that's another movie that was, you could say, I mean, I think even Zack admitted himself, like, I mean, it was ahead of its time just because, I mean, we all know about the book and just where comic book movies, superhero movies are now. I mean, it almost like if you were to make that movie now, you almost wouldn't have to change much. I mean, I don't know. It's just very interesting when you see everything now, because this came out before the big Marvel, you know, the MCU became a thing. And Zack's mentioned that he was kind of just looking at the comic books and seeing like where they were. But now it's like a whole different thing right now when it comes to more comic book movies. But how was working on it? Did you think like, wow, this is something very different than what's out there currently?
Yeah, I love working on it because I love the graphic novel, and you know, the whole concept of, you know, heroes are human beings too, right? Heroes have faults, you know, which you really don't see much in the comic books. And I think that was kind of the movie that kind of started that wave, because you see now there's a lot more projects that have come out since then showing heroes at kind of their worst.
Yeah.
You know, like The Boys is one that I really enjoy. You know, I read all Garth Ennis graphic novels, and I really like the TV show. And I think Watchmen kind of may have started that wave a little bit. Not that that stuff wasn't there, but I mean, as far as the motion picture end of it, you know, now that's starting to come out more with films. But yeah, it was a fun show to work on, and I enjoyed doubling Matthew. It was a ball, and doing all that stuff, and yeah, just very cool project.
Yeah, and then of course Man of Steel comes along, and of course you also were you a character in Man of Steel? Also?
Yeah, I was Turan.
That's right. That's right. So not only doing stunt performing. So when Zack, I mean, so basically it kind of just, you know, hey, Zack gets the Superman job. You know, Christopher Nolan recommends him, and I love the fact. I always love hearing that story because Christopher Nolan said he loved Watchmen so much, so he was like, I don't want to. I already did Batman. I know somebody else that could do the Superman movie you want, and so Zack comes along. So when you hear that Zack is doing Man of Steel, and of course he probably approached all you guys, you, Damon, and whoever, like the normal team to start working on that. I mean, how did that feel? Like, wow, a Superman movie now? I mean, that had to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, because I'm a big comic book nerd, you know, from way back, and I still have a lot of the graphic novels, and I still buy some occasionally. So to do any superhero movie, for me personally, those are awesome jobs. I enjoy them a lot. That was a cool job. I mean, they're all. Anytime I work with Zack on anything, it's awesome. But to do the superhero stuff was so much fun. And you know that when Christopher Nolan contacted Zack, he was talking to George. Zack was talking to George Lucas about, you know, if he could use the Star Wars universe to do something. And then that kind of went by the wayside.
Yes.
When Christopher Nolan called. So it's interesting, you know, if Christopher Nolan would have never contacted Zack, what would we be doing now? What project would he have worked on instead? Who knows, you know?
See, I mean, now you're tripping me out. I'm like, yeah, I know. I start thinking like that. If Christopher Nolan didn't make that phone call, where would we be at with all this stuff? Would there be a Zack Snyder Star Wars? I mean, and what's great too is he's recently talked about how he's kind of taken his Star Wars idea take the little Star Wars things out of it, like it's like Seven Samurai, sci-fi kind of movie. And I think he's trying to, I mean, you probably know more about it than me, but I know he's trying to do something with that, I guess, with Netflix. I don't know, but we're all pretty excited to see what that's going to be like. So.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. Yeah, we spoke briefly about it.
Yeah.
But I don't have a ton of information on it.
Okay. I was gonna what's it called? What's it got? Is there like lightsaber type things in there? What's going on? But I mean, I can only imagine like, Zack trying to just go in deep and deconstructing like characters like the Jedi and stuff like that. I mean, especially since he's such a fan of Seven Samurais, and I could just see what he could do with like the Jedi, and so I'm kind of curious to see what he does with this new sci-fi movie. It's going to be pretty exciting. So then we get to Batman versus Superman. And now, I mean, like you said, you're a comic book nerd. Now you get to wear the bat suit and wear the bat cowl and kick a lot of bad guys' asses in probably one of the best, I think the best cinematic Batman fight that's ever been on film. I'm just going to commend you on that. It was I love that scene.
Appreciate it.
So how did that feel? I noticed a statue behind you, of course.
I mean, it was amazing. That was, like I said, big comic book nerd. Batman was my favorite superhero since I was a kid. I wanted to be Batman when I was a kid.
We all did.
Like all of us, right?
Yeah.
And I would sit in the movie theaters and watch the Batman movies. I was in the stunts at that time, and I just dream of being able to do, what these guys are doing, and put my own little taste on it. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was amazing. Just by far my favorite job ever. I don't know if I could ever beat that one. And just so fortunate that, I was in the right place at the right time. Damon Caro, has been my training partner since '87. Said, hey, I want you to audition for this, So I auditioned, and then I came in for a second audition, and because he was trying out a bunch of guys, because I'm not a young guy anymore, right? Yeah. So he wanted to just make sure he was going to get the guy who could definitely do the job. And then after the second auditions, he said, "Yeah," he goes, "You got it." I'm really. So I was ecstatic. I mean, I'm a pretty like this. I'm pretty even tone.
Yeah, you seem like it.
I don't have super highs or super lows. I'm pretty even tone. But I was like dancing around the house. I was.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was so thrilled. Yeah. But that was amazing. I remember Zack taking some photographs of me before we started shooting, and I'm standing. I'm in the bat suit, and I'm standing, and I'm just looking at my silhouette, my shadow on the ground, and I'm like just blown away by it. I couldn't believe it.
It's like that inner child that is just going, "Oh my God!" I mean, this is what you dreamed of like years ago, reading, just looking at comic book panels and whatnot, or watching the movies that came out. It's like that's got to be insane. And when it came to like just doing that warehouse fight scene, I mean, was that shot early on, or was that was shot early on, right?
I think that might have been the first thing we put on film. I think it was.
Okay, yeah, and that's just, I mean, God, just the buildup of that scene and just the way, I mean, obviously you guys do the pre-viz, the stunt viz, and all that stuff to get it all going. And when we get to Justice League stuff, there's stuff I want to talk about when it comes to pre-viz and everything like that. But when it comes to that warehouse scene, it's just, and then when you finally saw it, like in all its glory, I mean, that had to be just, you had to be smiling ear to ear seeing that whole entire scene. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I was really happy the way it turned out. I mean, there's a couple things. I'm my own worst critic. So there's a couple things I saw, I'm like, I wish I could do that again. But I mean, I had an amazing group of stunt performers, martial artists with me that I was fighting. Guys are just fantastic performers. So I was really fortunate. Everything just worked perfectly on that whole show. I had the right stunt coordinator that loved Batman as well, the right director, because I mean, you look at the Christopher Nolan movies and they're great movies, but he really wanted people to see the actor doing the fighting, and he, even though you have that mask on, he just felt like, no, I want the actor doing the fighting, because I know his stunt double really well. and he's a great martial artist. You know, I mean, he could have done some pretty amazing things in that, but you know, you want Christian Bale's jaw and mouth was important to Christopher Nolan, so you know that's the way it turned out. So I really hit a perfect storm. I working for a director that was like, nah, you know, Rich, you do this stuff. Yeah. And I was really, really fortunate. I was really lucky, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people will. I mean, as fantastic as the Dark Knight trilogy is, I think what people might it kind of lacked when it came to, you know, the fighting a little bit. Yeah, there's some good fight sequences and stuff like that, but I mean, you compare it to this scene right here, it's like, holy shit. I mean, a lot of people want to when they look at the warehouse scene. I mean, immediately people were going to the Batman games, the Arkham games. They were thinking about like that and how like it seemed like almost like the fight core. I mean, I think there's even videos out there that have like the health bar and all this stuff like that make it look like it is the Arkham game. It's pretty awesome. So like I think that's why everybody was so blown away by that scene. So yeah, and I think it was just like something that a lot of Batman fans just wanted to see more of. It's like him just going full on, let's just take on 24 guys. Yeah. It's Batman. Of course he's gonna be able to do it. But then when it came to Justice League, now you're taking on creatures. You're taking on parademons in this one.
Right.
So how was of course working on Justice League? Now, you know, obviously you knew that was going to be the case because it was all kind of, well, I remember it was announced that Zack was going to do Justice League before Batman vs Superman came out. I think that was correct, right?
I think so, yeah.
So how was so obviously you were gonna do Batman again, and then of course when filming, I mean, what I wanted to bring up is this stunt viz right here that you do I have this loaded up? Hold on one sec. You did there's a stunt viz video that came out for a scene, I guess that didn't I guess get filmed. Here, let me see here. Let me bring it up right now. Let's see. Whoop. All right. So let me share this. Sorry, I didn't have it ready, but it was this right here. You probably remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically, I mean, when this came out, a lot of us started freaking out because we're going, okay, this is when Batman finds the parademon nest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is amazing.
This was a concept. Is that Freddie Bushiagas and Matt Rugetti put together. So, I mean, we do a lot of concept stuff. You know, some of it makes the movie, some of it doesn't. You know, and for whatever reason, this just didn't make it into the movie.
Well, yeah, I think it was. I think Zack kind of, when he answered on Vero, one of his times was, he said the studio thought it was too scary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Because I mean, it's funny because he jokes around about, you know, scary ideas that they didn't like really want to go for. One of them being, I think the main scary idea was, you know, killing Lois Lane, and you know, he did kind of put that in there now, or you know, a version of that, I guess you could say. But I guess this was like another idea. I mean, we saw the concept art where Batman shows up, finds the parademon nest, and then of course craziness ensues. But yeah, so it was just that just never went past previs, huh?
No, that's as far, what you see is as far as it got.
That's cool. But I mean, it's got to be fun though, kind of coming up with something like that. Like it's almost like making like a little short film, you know?
Yeah, which we do a lot. You know, I mean, we could put probably all the previs we've done over the years of concepts that hadn't make the films. We could probably put our own little film together.
I say, hey, do that. That'd be a cool little, you know. Yeah, that'd be a cool little short film or whatever, or probably be a full-length film if I have many short ones you have. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah,
yeah. So then, obviously, with everything that happened with Justice League and you know, Zack having to walk away and stuff like that, I mean, did you hear about all this stuff that was happening, like how they were trying to rearrange and reshoot Justice League and all that? I mean, how much were you like? How much did you do any of the reshooting or anything like that?
I did. I did most of the. I don't know how many weeks we were there, but I think they did an additional week week after I left with some things, but I was there for most of it.
So you did that rooftop scene? Yeah, that was you? Yeah. Like during all that, did you kind of just go, what exactly are they trying to do here? Was there any kind of like, you know, I don't know, were you talking to, I mean, you probably weren't talking to Zack at the time when you were doing all that, right?
No, but there were some of his people were there. DJ Desjardins was there. And then, of course, the actors who I got to know. It was hard for most of us.
Yeah.
It was difficult, you know, because we knew what the studios had put Zack through, or what the studio had put Zack through. And we, you know, it was tough to do, you know, and because you just didn't feel right doing it. I know Zack would have wanted me, and sometimes I think, man, I should have called him and asked him, you know, hey, is it okay with you that I do this? But I'm 99% sure he would have wanted me there just to. He probably would have said something like, hey, just make sure, you know, I want you there to make sure the continuity of the character is in play. Yeah, I'm sure he would, you know. But it was rough. It was a rough job. That whole job was really rough because we knew what they were putting him through, and it was taking a toll on him. Mm-hmm. And it was just a tough job all around.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, especially when you hear the stuff, even from the actors themselves, it's like, yeah. I mean, we probably only heard like a fraction of some of the stuff, but I mean, luckily though, I mean, you know, 4 years later. Here we are with Zack Snyder's Justice League. That had to be nice to. When did you find out that they were actually going to release the Snyder Cut?
Probably a couple months before it was announced, I guess, something like that. But yeah, that was, you know, I've said this many times to anyone who's willing to listen. Yeah. That was the fans. I mean, really. Oh, yeah. I mean, every fan out there that had a say in this, that you know, whatever, tweeted something or made a comment publicly or whatever, they all are responsible for this because really it never would have happened without the fans. It never would have happened. You know, they caught AT&T's attention. Yeah. You know, it was that big. And, you know, this is unprecedented. Like, you don't see this in the film industry or very many industries at all, that you know, a fan base can actually influence a movie being made. It's wild. It's like a miracle, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's made history. I mean, we've heard about director's cuts. I mean, how many Blade Runners are there out there? I mean, we always hear about the different cuts, but I mean, this is a whole different thing. And when you actually watch it, I mean, so many people are going like, "What? It's an entirely different movie." I mean, it's insane how different it actually is. I don't know how they took this epic 4 hour, you know, well, it's probably more than 4 hours at the time, and just try to dwindle it down to something very simple. And it's like, yeah, I don't know how they thought that they could actually pull that up, but you're right. And when it came to getting this movie out there, it was every fan, like I said, matter if you tweeted, release the Snyder Cut one time, or dedicated, you know, videos or posts or campaigns, billboards, all this stuff. I mean, it really just, it was a long, hard battle, and it worked out. And the movie is fantastic, and the work you did, fantastic. I mean, how did it feel watching Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Oh, it was awesome because, you know, when you're making a movie, you know, as a stunt performer, you're not, even if you're doubling the lead actor, you're not involved in every shot. So you don't see everything that happens. So just to see the contrast between, you know, the version that the studio released and then Zack's version, I mean, come on.
It's night and day, literally.
Oh, you know what's like really crazy too? What? The world almost didn't get Ray Fisher's performance.
I know. That's the thing. Oh my God.
Like, come on. I mean, that performance is Oscar worthy in my eyes. I think the film's Oscar worthy, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, me too.
I mean, but we almost didn't get that. I mean, we were almost denied that amazing performance. And so that just, wow. Yeah, I'm just really happy. I'm happy for Zack and Ray and for everybody else. It's like, you know, I don't know. It's like the good guys won. You know, I'm really, you know, it's really cool.
It really feels like that. I mean, Zack deserved it 100%. I mean, especially since he was having, you know, another movie coming out this year. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Ray's performance, I don't know. It's funny too, because when I first watched it, it was on a Saturday. I got a screener, and when I got done with it, I immediately messaged Zach and I said, "You motherfucker, you made me cry about 5 or 6 times. How dare you?" And I was just like, dude, that was just cinematic excellence right there. And like, I think half of those times that I almost cried was with Ray Fisher's performance. I mean, his story, when you dive into Cyborg's story and you just see where he's coming from and see what happens with the parents and everything. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And yeah, I don't get why would they want to remove any of that and just, oh man.
I don't know. So maybe they were so caught up on a time frame.
Yeah.
So caught up on this has to be whatever
2 hours,
whatever. I don't know. It's not clearly not the best choice.
No, I think we've made that assumption around that. Clearly was not the best choice, and so it was all pretty fantastic. Was there anything that stood out to you in Justice League? Like, what was like a favorite moment of yours in the movie?
I loved Ray. I loved all Ray's stuff. So subtle but so strong. Just a clinic on acting, in my opinion. But what I really liked too. I like the way they fleshed, because I did the Steppenwolf. Motion capture, right?
That's what I was going to ask too. Yeah.
And so I really liked the way they fleshed his character out.
Yeah. You saw exactly why he was doing this.
Exactly. Yeah. What, does he hate the Earth? Like, does he just run around the solar system conquering planets? Yeah,
just swinging an axe. What's going on here? Yeah.
So now we know why, and it's important. It's a big why. So I really enjoyed that too. But I guess I really enjoyed just all the gaps being filled.
Yeah.
Everything that was like when you watch the movie, you're like, yeah, but what about this and what about that and what about now? All of those are all filled, and so that's the part I really enjoyed the most.
Yeah, and you did some mocap. You did mocap for Darkseid as well, right?
I did.
Yeah. So the history lesson, right? That was mainly you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had to be fun, because in the history lesson, I mean, that was another thing that got really. I mean, also, you watch the original history lesson, it's Steppenwolf, and then we get to miss out on Ares and, Darkseid, Uxas, however you say his name, having like a little fight, back and forth before it ends. I mean, that had to be a pretty cool sequence to shoot right there.
Yeah, definitely.
How does it feel like when you're like, obviously when you're in pajamas and just on a soundstage? I mean, when you're doing all that, I mean, obviously you got like that sequence right there. I mean, is it mainly just like doing the moves, or you're actually like, there's somebody else there too, like that was actually you're fighting with, or is it just doing the moves?
Yeah, most of the time there's somebody there that's playing the other character.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of the time it is. Sometimes if they're just going to CG something, like the horse that I threw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't really throw a horse.
Yeah. No ponies were hurt in the making of Justice.
No horses were harmed.
That was pretty brutal though, man. When you see that and he just launches that, you're like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like this guy is on a whole other level. He does not.
Yeah, he's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what's so great about it. So now when it comes to Army of the Dead, and so this time you're actually asked to full on play a character that's, pretty relevant in the movie. So how did that feel to be like, hey, I mean, this time around, I mean, how did Zach approach you on Zeus?
He just called me and he said, hey, I got this character I want you to play in this next movie I'm going to direct. And I think it's something, that you'll enjoy. And I have no doubt that you'll do well with it. And I mean, that's all Zach has to do is ask, I'm there no matter what it is, I'm there. So it's really cool because, I appreciate that he had faith in me to pull it off the way he envisioned it. We met before we started shooting. Anytime I play a character for one of his movies, we always meet for a couple hours before we start shooting. And he told me, he said, look, he goes, for this movie to work, he goes, people need to empathize with Zeus. They need to feel something for Zeus. And so while we were shooting, I always had that in the back of my mind. Anytime I was making choices in a scene, I always try to go for the choice that's going to make the character relatable to the audience, because everybody knows, what a zombie type character does. We've seen that a million times, but it's nice to be able to play a character that has different layers to him, right? So I always tried to bring out those layers whenever I could in any of the scenes we shot.
Yeah, and then the fact that it's a zombie. I mean, it's a zombie character. I mean, that's even adds a little bit more to it too. I mean, the fact that it's not just, you're not just going, I'm trying to, eat somebody or eat some brains or take a bite out of somebody. I mean, the alphas, and Zeus is the alpha. He's the one that starts off the whole thing. I mean, the opening scene, I mean, jeez, that's a great open. And I love what Zach says about it too, like that opening scene, like, and then he's going to look over at that there's like an imaginative hill that looks over Vegas. Every movie has like an imaginary hill that looks over like a town or something like that. Yeah. And it's such a great shot, but it's just like, I always got going, yeah, there really is no hill like that overlooks Vegas, is there? I was like, yeah, that you're right. There is no hill like that, but like getting into that makeup, how many hours?
When we first started, it was a little over 4.
Wow.
And then I think they got it down to about 2.5, right around there. Right. Because these guys are awesome. And they, it always starts out that way because they're figuring things out, and they come up with shortcuts and just faster way to do things. And they get better and better at it. And so it was rough. It was rough to sit there, every day. If the crew call is going to be 4 a.m., your call is going to be like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
12 a.m. Yeah. I mean, that's just the nature of what it is. So yeah, it was a tough job. It was physically tough. I had prosthetics from my waist to my head. Mm-hmm. Albuquerque heat, 90.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like wearing all that, and then in the heat, oof.
It was brutal. It was a tough job.
Yeah,
it was really tough, but I liked those. I like those jobs.
Challenging,
yeah.
And then you even posted too that you wanted to get into really, really, really good shape, and and I obviously had a picture of the abs, and I'm going, geez, I don't even anything close like that, man. This guy. I mean, age is not a number. That's for damn sure. I mean, that's good though. It's good to have that mentality because, I mean, I know you mentioned before you're not a young guy, but you're still doing a lot of the stuff and try to get in that shape again. How long did it take you to like this time around to just kind of get in that super shredded shape?
It was a few months.
Yeah.
Until I got to the point where I felt really good about it. Okay. Yeah. A few months.
What was the regimen like?
Oh man, I have this doctor does my rehab stuff, my physical therapy. His name's Dr. Silva out of Redondo Beach. He's amazing and he's just incredible. And he also is a trainer because the guy knows the body like no one I've ever known. And he put me on this regimen because I said, look, they want me to gain a little bit of size but stay ripped. Because I walk around between 195 and 200 pounds, right around there. And I wanted to get up to about 210. And I said, can that be done? Because the old days, if you know bodybuilding from the old days, they bulk. And then a couple weeks before the competition, they rip, they cut, right? Yeah. But you don't have to do that anymore. With today's training methods, you can do both.
Yeah.
So we put me on this training method where we're doing circuit training with kettlebells.
Okay.
And some of them are a little heavier than others, some of them a little lighter, and then also with cable machines, but it's a circuit type workout where you're doing about, say, 8 exercises, 12 reps each, all in a row with no rest.
Oh, wow.
Traditionally, you rest between sets. Yeah. And this is no rest. And then when I'm done with that set, I get maybe a minute rest, and I do the next set. We do that for 4 sets. So by the time you're done, I'm over 500 reps, somewhere around there. So you're doing a lot. So because you're using just enough weight that you can get through the exercise, and you're doing a lot of reps, you're actually doing both.
Wow.
And then what goes into that also, were intensive ab routines that I was working on, and then diet. Diet's huge.
Yep, that's the next question I was going to ask. What was like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you?
It's just keeping the carbs low.
Yep.
And protein high, fats high, and no sugar.
Yeah.
And then when you have a big physical day, then you can up the carbs a little bit the night before. Then you can, because you're going to need the energy. And I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
I know the keto people say you can substitute the fats and that's enough for your energy. Maybe some people can do it. I can't.
Well, not everybody's the same, and that's the thing. That's what some people realize. Like, anytime that I know anybody that has, that wants to maybe get in shape, and I've always tried to keep in shape as much as possible. And I do mainly like a keto type diet. I'm strictly the proteins and the greens, and I'll do the fasting too, intermittent fat. I don't know if you did any of that as well.
It's like 16 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Like, when I first started doing that, I didn't think I was going to be able to. I was like, I have to have breakfast or I turn into a zombie and I'm just cranky and just, no way. But as soon as I just said, all right, I could do this. I'm going to take this challenge. And now it's like, breakfast? Nah, I'm just sipping black coffee like all morning. That's pretty much all I do. And it just feels better. Even like when you actually work out while you're fasting, there's like that stored energy that's still there. Mm-hmm. That was something new that I, a few months ago just started like really doing. I think at the end of last year, I was like working out on an empty stomach. I never used to do it before, but I'll do it now, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that process, helps you get ripped.
Oh yeah,
that whole thing.
Right.
So,
I'm gonna be in Army of the Dead too, and I'm gonna be an alpha. That's what I'm trying to go for.
Awesome.
Just tell Zach. I'll tell him too. I'll message him. But no, but so the makeup process, and so we're working on that, and then let's talk about Zeus, because like I said at the beginning, it's like not exactly the villain. I wouldn't say he's per se the villain, because we know that he was some kind of soldier. Obviously, when you see him in the beginning, he's kind of got that crew cut going on. He's got the dog tags, which is a big thing. So like, how much of the character, how deep of the character do you actually know? Because obviously we have prequels that are going to be coming out. Like the anime and the prequel movie that's coming out. How much of the character do you know about? Like, how deep do you know the character?
I actually know all about the character.
Ah, dang! See,
you have to. You can't.
Yeah, you have to
play someone if you don't.
That's true. I mean, it makes sense. I just wasn't sure if like it was like Zach was keeping some things maybe or something like that. But that's good. Yeah. So I mean,
and the only thing I can say about that is I'll ask you a question. Is he really a zombie? Is he?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good question, because I mean, right at the beginning, I didn't spot it the first time. I mean, and we're not holding back any spoilers anymore. I mean, like I said, when Zach was on we were just picking his brain throughout the whole thing. And I mean, right at the beginning, when they're leaving the convoy, you see like these little objects in the sky, and then they just shoot off, and you're like, all right, aliens now, what the, it's like, what's going on here? So that is a good question. I like that. Is he really a zombie? I mean, obviously, when it comes to a lot of people were, talking about the baby, the zombie, or not the zombie baby, but the baby that he pulls out of the queen. And it was like, when you see it, it's blue, and then all of a sudden the blue goes away and then dies. And it's just kind of like, all right, blue, what is going on with this blue stuff that's going on here? Because even when we see Zeus, we see some blue that flickers away, and we're just kind of like, yeah. So that is the question: is he? Yeah.
Right.
See, and I'm like, what else can I ask? Because obviously we got the alphas, and one of the questions, I think one of the biggest theories is like, what is going on with Vanderow? And it almost seems like to me, when Zeus and Vanderow, they kind of square off in the safe, where the safe is. I'm like, there's something pre here, because it seems a little strange that Vanderow just goes, all right, drop the guns, let's freaking do this. And I'm like, There
was something there.
See?
Yeah, it didn't make the movie.
Yeah.
In fact, it's part of my biggest fight in the movie, but just didn't make the movie because
really?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I think it gave away too much of my character too early, the way it sat in the timeline of the movie. But there is definitely a little history there with me and Vanderhout.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure. Yeah. And it's a bummer it didn't make it because it's a cool, very cool scene.
Uh-huh.
But maybe it'll show up in one of the sequels as a flashback or something.
Let's hope. Yeah, that's not. And I think a lot of people are making the correlation of like, we got the alphas, and then you got Vander. He has like a brand of the Omega symbol. So you're like Alpha, Omega. Something's going on there too. What do you think? What are we thinking here, Zach? What's going on?
Zach's a deep thinker. If you watch one of his movies and you only can see one layer, then you really didn't watch it.
No.
He's a very deep individual.
He very much is, because not only were we dealing with like aliens, and then all of a sudden throughout, when you're watching it, you kind of go, did I just that headshot of that zombie, all of a sudden it's like, wait, there's like robotic eyes? What? It's like we got robot alien, and then just on top of that, then all of a sudden there's this whole time loop theory, and it's like what is happening? Because I mean, when it comes to me, I'm, and I've said it before, I think the Vandero that comes out of the safe at the end, I don't think it's the same one that we saw go in. Yeah, so that's my theory.
I hadn't heard that one before. That's very
cool. I mean, it's just, I think it's just mainly because of the bite thing, because everybody kind of wondered, when did he get bit? And I think that's the main thing. We don't really see that, because when you guys are having a scuffle, it's almost like Zeus is about to, but then Dieter comes in and just, hits him over the head or something like that. So we don't quite see it. So then it's kind of like, I don't know. That's just my theory. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, see,
so many things. I might be onto something there, man. I don't know, but it's that's what's so great, like you said about Zach's movies, is there's so many layers to peel. I mean, it's an onion. So many things, and I've watched it 4 times, and I'm still trying to listen to every little dialogue, certain exchanges, and like you said, I mean, just paying attention. I mean, you do sympathize with Zeus. I mean, like you said, that was the challenge of creating some sympathy. I mean, yes, he's grotesque, he's gonna bite you, but there's some sympathy there because we don't know exactly what happened. Was it his choice to do whatever experiments that happened? Did he volunteer thinking he was going to be Captain America, and then it turned into this? I mean, that's another thing too. Is like, that's probably
That's interesting.
I know. I think I'm trying. I'm pressing a little bit here. I'm like, come on, give me something.
Well, that's why he's not the bad guy. He's not the villain. I mean, think about it. They trapped him and his people trying to get out of there and attack the rest of the world, right? They're staying right there. He's just building his kingdom, and if people want to sneak in and try to get some money and they get turned into alphas, they knew the risk, but he's not really being a bad guy. And then here come the humans in, just mess everything up, start killing his queen, and just invade his kingdom. And like, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, that's what I like about Lily, the coyote character. She knows all this. She when she shoots Mr. Burt Cummings in the leg as a trade-off, because she knows, like, okay, we give them him, we're good. We can actually go in and hopefully they'll leave us be for a little bit. And I think she even mentions that herself, that this is not just some place that they're just stuck. This is their kingdom. This is their home, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's human beings that are coming in here, and they're fucking each other over. They're being a-holes and greedy and whatnot. It's like, who actually is the villain of the story? I don't know.
For sure. I mean, you could argue that the alphas have more honor than the humans. Because they lived up to their end of the bargain. I mean, they can't control the shamblers. The shamblers are going to do what they want.
Yeah.
But you have to know that going in. You got to deal with the shamblers, but at least you don't have to deal with any alphas, and they're 10 times as worse, right?
Yeah.
So, we kept up our end of the bargain. So,
man, God, it just brings a nice little fresh spin to the zombie genre, which it's just. Obviously, there's The Walking Dead. I never really got into it. That's still currently out there. But, and we got other, obviously, zombie movies like your Zombielands and whatnot. But this just kind of just took it like, and then just to add like the alien aspect to it. I think I always thought that would be a cool idea, too, to kind of combine, aliens and then zombies. And maybe there's something there. And it seems like seems like Zach figured it out right there. So
yeah, it does. I think it's a nice, fresh take without going too crazy, right? Because I think everything in there, if you live in that genre and that world, sci-fi comic books, you can buy everything that happened in there.
Oh yeah,
you know. So yeah, I thought it was great.
But the time loop thing, man, that is so throwing me through a loop, like literally through a loop, like. Because just the little things in there where we're looking at the number 4. Seems like the number 4 is mentioned quite a few times. We're like, 4 times have they been in this thing? What the heck?
Yeah,
it adds a little. It just adds more to it. I mean, I remember when talking about it with some people are like, nah, it's just a character just messing with Dieter. That's all. But then you're going, but there's so many little things. It's like I see them,
Right.
So yeah, you see, that's the thing, you know a little bit about this, and I'm like, can't wait for more, man. Really can't.
Yeah, I think the animated prequel is going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to answer probably most of your questions.
Yeah, that's. I think he was just recently on a stream this past. Yeah, he was just recently on a Twitch stream where everybody was live watching it, and he gave a little. He shows Vandero like the animated form, and I think he even said that with us too, where, it's going to answer a lot of questions. The animated prequel, and I think it's like 6 episodes or something like that, and then there's going to be even some answers even with the prequel movie that's coming out, the Army of Thieves movie that's coming out. So hopefully we'll get some answers right there too, because we just got to know, man.
Yeah.
Gotta know. So anything you're working on right now that you could let us know?
No, not at the moment. I'm getting ready to go to Vegas next week.
What?
Yeah, doing a commercial with Ben out there. So that'll be cool.
With Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that'll be fun. Nice, easy job. I think easy on the body.
Yeah. There you go.
I worked on a few things this year. Star Wars project and.
That's right, Mandalorian,
huh? Yeah, something like that. And then. And then a Brad Pitt project earlier.
Yeah.
That a buddy of mine is directing. It's going to be I think it's going to be a really good movie.
It sounds like it, yeah. Bullet Train. The cast. It sounds like a phenomenal cast.
Yeah, it is. It just stars everywhere, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it says you're the stunt double for Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, man,
yeah.
Love Michael Shannon. Anything that guy's in, it just, he's going to give like 110% performance, right?
Yeah, he's amazing. He's he's incredible. I can't remember what the name of the movie is, but he did a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm. I think
he has 2 major scenes in it, and Zach and I were talking about it one time, and Zach's like, man, he tore the paint off the walls. That's the way he described it. He tore the paint off the walls in those scenes. He's amazing. I can't remember. It's something Road.
Man, I'm trying to remember what it is.
It's
I have to look it up.
It's not one of Leonardo's big, huge anything. I can't remember the first part of the title, but check out Michael Shannon's scenes in that. He's insane. He's so good.
Well, even just going, I think a lot of us collectively, who are Snyder fans and the fans of the DC Snyderverse, we still think his Zod is top notch, like top villain. Just the intensity he brought to that. And, talk about another villain role where you kind of almost go, okay, I get why he's doing this. I get it. I get the intensity. I get he's a soldier. He was breeded as a soldier. We kind of get where he's coming from. And Shannon just freaking nails it, man.
Yeah, he's great. He's really a very, very impressive actor.
I'm trying to see, I'm going through his IMDb. He's been in so many movies, though. I'm like, which movie was it? Was it Leonardo DiCaprio? I remember there's a movie called The Iceman. I don't know if anybody's seen that. Definitely check that one out with him. If you haven't watched The Iceman, really great movie.
One about George Klinkowski? Is that his story? Oh, yeah. Wow. Yep. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's
Richard Klinkowski.
Oh, Richard Klinkowski. Yeah. I'm sure it's fantastic because that's.
Oh, it is. And
crazy.
Midnight Special was another good one that he was in, which kind of delved into like alien sci-fi kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to see here. Said it had road in it. Tigerland.
Yeah, something road.
Road bug. World Trade Center. Not seeing it. Oh, here we go. Revolutionary Road.
That's it.
There it is, right there. It came out in 2008. Wow, this one kind of just snuck by. Yeah, Leo and Kate Winslet. So that was like a reunion of Titanic right there. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Wow, where the hell did this one sneak through? That is crazy.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
I will.
Even if the movie doesn't interest you, just fast forward to Michael Shannon's scenes. They're insane. It's so good.
God, that's so good. Well, all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We've already done like an hour of conversation. I can ask you like a million things about, like I said, your body of work and stuff like that. But I will ask this, since it is the vodka stream. Is there ever like a night where you get home and pour yourself like anything like that? Are you much of a drinker?
No, not much of a drinker.
Okay.
No, I occasionally, you know what? It seems like the only time I really drink is if I have a girlfriend that drinks.
Okay.
Then I'll drink a little bit. That's about the only time.
Okay. Is there like ever a choice when that's the case, or just whatever she's drinking?
I'm a Captain Morgan's guy.
There you go.
For sure.
Like it.
My buddy got me into Brad Martin, who's a awesome stunt coordinator, second year director, got me into it when we were doing Underworld.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we were in Budapest. He got me hooked on Captain Morgan.
Was it just straight Captain Morgan, or there were like a little Coke in there, like or
Captain and Coke?
Yeah. It's good drink. It's a good bar drink. Cool. Well, all right, Richard. This has been, like I said, a lot of fun, and like I said, talk in when other things are coming out. And again, excellent work when it comes to Army of the Dead. Excellent work in everything you're doing, man. I mean, much respect for what you do. And like I said, I mean, what inspires me from you is like I said, age is not a number. You're still like, the physicality that you're still doing and everything like that. I mean, it's awesome stuff, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right, guys. This has been Richard Cetrone, the Alpha, the King of the Zombies. I try to get as much information out of him, but he's. I did my best, guys. I did my best. All right, we'll go back to the Vodka stream right now, and see you guys later. Boop. Oh, there we go, guys. Richard, Mr. Cetrone, good dude, huh? Jeez. Like I said, I could have talked to that guy forever, man. I mean, really could have talked to that guy forever, because he's just, I have a fascination too, like stunt performing and stuff like that. Just, I wanted to like big time pick his brain, but I also didn't want to, I know he's a busy dude. I didn't want to keep him for too long. So hopefully other things happen, that he's a part of, which, apparently he's Michael Shannon's stunt double for Bullet Train. We were kind of just talking about that. Thank you, movie man. Appreciate that. Yeah, ended up. I know there was a little bit of glitches that happened. I don't know. It's always what's going to happen. You got to love technology, but yeah. Like I said, very fascinating. Very just a nice dude, just a good dude. I wanted to pick his brain just so much when it came to like a lot of things, but this is Vegas. Yeah, did you hear that? Apparently, he's going to shoot something in Vegas with Ben. What? He did say that, right? Or was that after? I'm like, wait, was that after? No. Man, Richard's totally awesome. Well, thank you guys. Oh, shoot. It wasn't live? Yeah, you were bamboozled, babyface. No, yeah, it was pre-recorded yesterday afternoon. So, Reza, he was like, is Richard interviewing Dave? I think when it came to Army of the Dead stuff, he was like doing the philosophical stuff, because obviously he knows all the characters. The biggest thing that I took from that was like, is he a zombie? Then you kind of go, and even just sitting here and kind of, contemplating that again as it was playing and kind of going, commercial with Ben. That was kind of like, that's pretty interesting. A commercial. It's like Ben directing it. What's going on with that? It's going to be interesting in Vegas. I'm like, damn. No, but like, is Zeus a zombie? And then you kind of go like, or did they create him? Was he, I don't know. It's all, there's so many ways you could like take his origin story. It's like, was he a soldier that volunteered for like a Captain America thing? Or were they trying to create a whole fleet, an army, if you will, of super soldiers, And he was like the first one, and he, it just things went wrong or something like that. I don't know. It's all very interesting. All very interesting when it comes to the origin of Zeus, which of course we will find out more about that in the prequel series and all that and everything. So, yeah. All right. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this pregame show up. I did refill, so, I already got the wine buzz going on. So, you got to love it. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And like I said, obviously, in about an hour and 40 minutes, we'll do the regular vodka stream at the regular, open up the lounge, get it nice and cozy and whatnot. And, we'll get people in here and we'll discuss all kinds of stuff. So hopefully you guys tune into that. And thank you to Richard Cetrone again for giving me some of his time to pick his brain and just talk to him. And hopefully we get to do that again. For sure. So, all right, guys, hit that like, thumbs up before you leave. Hit that notification bell. Hit that join button if you want to become Film Junkee member. I've been doing, members only vlogs and live streams and whatnot. If you want to join the Patreon and get a little heads up on early access, and of course the Patreon stream if you want to do that. And then of course merchandise down below in the Film Junkee closet. And that's right, guys. Get some couple new shirts. I was wearing the Green Lantern Corps shirt that I made during the interview. I was like, why not wear it? So there you go. All right, guys. See you guys at 8 o'clock my time. All right. See ya.